Bang! Neeves Knives. I'm Jared. My lovely wife Kara should be walking in any minute. And today we are going to check out this wee Snecx, which is the mini busker. I know it's not a small knife to be called a mini, but that's the name. So let's check this bad boy out. First up, I want to thank my homie LAVENDERPANTS86 for always supporting our channel and for supporting us for so long. He's been an awesome friend and an awesome asset to this channel. So let's get into this knife. Thanks again, Lavender Pants. So I'm going to do the specs really quick, and then I'm just going to get right into the most important part. So this knife is 8 inches long with a 3.5-inch blade, literally the perfect size as a full-size knife. Now, some quick size comparisons. Here is the Hogue Ritter RSK. They're practically the same size. And then here is the Kershaw Bare Knuckle, which is a tiny bit longer. They're very, very close. Very, very close. But it's a tiny bit longer. You've already seen the Hogue Ritter, which is the same size, same thing as the Benchmade Reptilian. Here is the Bug Out, which you can see it's a little bit shorter than the Snecx. And then here is the Benchmade 940-1. One more. It's a smaller knife, but a lot of people know it. Here is the Elementum, the Civivi Elementum. It's pretty well known. That's why I pulled it out. Probably didn't need to, but there you guys go. Size comparisons. All right, so one thing about Snecx knives, and I went to his Instagram and checked out some of the things that they are doing. They do custom mid-tech knives, and they usually do something in their knives that's new, or something that they do, you know, unlike other companies. Like, they like to put in unique features in knives, and I think that's awesome. And this one has one, and it is on the lock bar, and we're going to get into it right now. So the lock bar insert, it's basically like a bar. So instead of having like a regular lock bar insert, like say this one right here, this has a steel lock bar insert. Actually, you know what? Here's a bigger one. Sorry, that was the Kaiser Rogue. This is the Spyderco Brower, but you can really see it on this one. You see how this is a titanium frame, and then it has a steel lock bar insert, which locks up on the bottom of the tang of the blade. This one, it's a bar. So it goes all the way across the frame, the lock bar frame, and then it also protrudes into a detent ball. In return, it gives it secure, nice, strong lockup. Very strong. But then it also gives it a unique detent feel. And we might as well get right into that. Let's get into the action. So it does have a small flipper tab, no jimping, but it's a very comfortable flip. Now, it is a light detent, so you can fail it whenever you really want to. But if you don't want to, you'll deploy it every single time without an issue. And you can kind of set the goal of how much power you want into the detent, not by squeezing the lock bar or anything like that, but just by the amount of force you put in. So you can do it nice and light, or you can pop it out with some authority. It will do a push button or a light switch. Really doesn't matter with that. It's just basically the amount of force you put in. And then, since it is kind of light, even though it's a very clicky detent, you can also middle finger flick it. And then all I'm doing is putting my finger on the side right here, because this is PVD coated. I'm putting it on the side of the blade right underneath the flat at the top of the blade, right there, putting a little, not much pressure, like I'm not pushing the blade over or anything. I'm just putting just enough to get a little grip on my finger. Also, it is rolling on ceramic bearings that are in a plastic washer. So instead of being in a brass washer, they are in a plastic washer, which gives it extremely smooth action. And if you guys know, ceramic actually is self-lubricating, which is awesome. So this is 20 CV PVD coated and then titanium PVD coated. And it kind of has like this robotic look, you know, like with all the corners and edges with a bronze. Even on the inside, you see the beautiful bronze strip down the back spacer, which it has a nice big old back spacer. Even back here, as soon as it'll focus, sorry. I don't know what's going on with the camera. There we go. You see how it like outlines everything. It's really, really cool. And then the hardware is nice and bronzed. All big T8 hardware. And then let's get into this action just a little bit more, because there's a little bit more into it. So the lock bar is very easy to access. Now, another thing about this detent is that you don't have the double click. So like if I open up a knife normally, you're going to feel right here a click, like at the detent, click, and then snap into action. This just lock up. So when you unlock it, you're never on the detent ball. It's always past it. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So if I go back to the Kaiser Rogue, you'll hear that was the first detent, or that was the detent ball. Let me do it again. And then the lockup. 2 clicks. Okay, this doesn't have that. And also with this, when you unlock it, you're going to hit the detent. And now you either got to get past it or push past it. Here's a, oh, this is the Kubi Anteater. Here's another way to show you, because this one's a little louder. 2 clicks. And then when you unlock it, it's on the detent ball right now. So I have to let it get past it, then drop. Or if it hits it, I gotta push past it. This doesn't have that. So this is always going to be past the detent. And then like say if you slow rolled it, it just pops in. Because that detent ball is the lock bar insert. So once you're on top of that, that's the lock bar. So it's really cool, and it adds a unique feel. Perfectly centered. This thing is very solid. The stop pin, nice big stop pin. I love seeing big stop pins like that. It's got a slight shoulder. It's not quite like a shouldering. It's kind of flat, but it's kind of shouldered. But very, very strong either way. The blade, I did not sharpen this 20 CV blade. I could have, because it would have taken a beautiful edge. But even though I did use it, it held up fine. And I just dropped it. And there's really no reason to sharpen it. Now, it does have a beautiful grind and a beautiful thinness. I mean, this thing's about, I think 13 thousandths is what I measured it at. 13 thousandths behind the edge. Now, it also has a pretty thick blade stock. I don't mean thick like really thick. I just mean like it has a good thickness. And then you see the taper down to the thin edge. Very, very nice. Great blade geometry. And then the sharpening choil is done fantastic. I like when I see sharpening choils done like this. The plunge grind is way back here, so you have all this room for sharpening, and you see how thin this is back there, which gives you also a nice little placement for your finger. I don't think it was meant for that, but it's still a good little spot to do it. Now the Ergos, the Ergos are pretty good. They're not that bad. I do feel the clip. We'll talk about that in a minute, but it's not horrible. And then, like I said, the access to the lock bar, really nice. It's already past it and super smooth. Just drops right into place. Middle finger flick. It's very fidgety. And then you can also thumb roll it without pinching it out like this. You can just do it with your thumb. Pretty cool because of the way the detent system is. Really good looking. The clip works fantastic in and out of the pocket one-handed. It's not extremely deep carry, but it's not bad also. and it goes in and out of the pocket one-handed. You don't have no problems having to hold your pocket and then put it in. You can just slip it in and slip it out, and it still has a good tension. This is a very utilitarian blade shape. I mean, you can use that tip really good, and it's kind of nice, strong, yet precise, thin tip. You can do great push cuts because you can use this little spot right there for push cuts, or you can even just stay back there. It's got a nice little platform for you to put your finger and to do cuts. I mean, this is perfectly straight, so you don't have any belly, but still a lot of use. This is a great EDC knife and great EDC blade shape. Now, you feel like you can hold it in just about any position too, to use this blade. Now, the bad things. This coating might, you know, I didn't have no issues even with all the cuts that I did. I didn't see any wear at all. So, but, you know, with PVD coating, it's going to show scratches and wear eventually. Now, this kind of has that finish that I really like, that makes it seem like it's got that working finish that's going to hide some scratches and stuff like that. Even like the clip, it kind of already looks faded, but it's supposed to look like that. So, you know, it will hide some, but eventually it is going to show scratches. You know, that's just something you got to know when getting into an all blacked out knife like this. This clip, even though the clip works great and the ergos aren't bad, it's still, I do feel it. No matter where I'm at, I feel that clip, and it's because of this little spot right here. Now, it's not, I'm not saying it's horrible or anything like that. I'm just saying I do feel it. In my hand, it always lands right on my bone. Even if I do it the reverse, it's my tip of my finger hitting it. I'm sorry for my fingernails. I was working on some stuff. But yeah, no matter what grip I'm in, I feel that doggone clip, even if I'm up here like this. This is probably the most comfortable, but I can still feel it. Not that big of a deal. It's a clip. I'd rather have the clip than not have it. So, next thing, the jimping, it's not really the best jimping. I mean, sometimes I feel it and I'm like, oh yeah, it's okay. And then other times I feel like it's slick. So that tells me it's not the best. And this little dent up here, I don't understand it. I mean, I guess it's to put your finger in and do these type of cuts, or maybe like this to put pressure down on the spine, but my fingers are always kind of past it. I guess if I'm back here, I reach it, but it just, I don't understand it. Maybe it was just like a design thing. I'm not that big on it. I could take it or leave it. It's not that it bothers me that it's there. It's just I don't find it very functional. Next thing, this hole, I don't like the hole. I'm not really that big on holes, but it's there. You know, you see it. Not that big of a deal, but I just feel like more stuff will get in there. Yes, it's on ceramic bearings, so I'm not that worried about it. It does have an over travel stop too. I forgot to mention that. So you can see it, well, kind of. I do like how the blade is protected back here too. It's not, you know, you're not going to hit it, which you absolutely would if not for this little guard right there. It does sink in there and lines up really nice. Now, this is the next thing, and possibly the worst thing in my opinion. I like that they use T8s all over, but they're not that deep. Like, normally Wii's T8s are beautiful. I can bring up knives right now. Here is a Wii knife. This is the Wii Vapor. Now look at this hardware. Nice and solid. See how deep that is? But no movement. Great hardware. I mean, this thing practically, it sticks in there. Now this one, no matter which one I pick, that's as deep as it goes. I mean, it's not that there's any play really, but there's like no depth even on the pivot. That's all the way in. Look at that. I find that weird because it's Wii, and I always say that Wii has the best hardware, some of the best hardware, This one's a tiny bit deeper than the other ones, but it's still. Let's check the clip. The clip is probably the deepest one. I mean, it's, I don't know why, but that's a bad thing to me. So being titanium hardware, it's softer. Now, like I said, Wee's hardware is really good. This titanium hardware on this knife is amazing. It's so strong. Some of the strongest titanium hardware I've ever felt. I don't know what to think about this because it's not that deep. Anyways, but that's the only other thing. Other than that, this is an amazing knife. I don't want to take anything away from this knife because this is an awesome knife. The build quality is phenomenal. I really like this knife. It's $280, so it better be good. And it is damn good. I love the D10 system. I love the lockup, the unique feel. The action is fun. It's very, very fidgety, very useful. Feels like a very, very strong build. But, it's just those couple little things, which in all reality isn't even that big of a deal. But had to mention them. So there you guys go. I love you guys. Thanks, Lavender Pants. Peace.